All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles, the elders, the elder bishops, the great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. To the men on the highways and the byways that are pushing out this word in truth and sincerity. And to the remnant men, women, and children of the elect. To you all, I say Shalom. My name is Ahyash. And I'm back with another lesson through the power and the spread of Yahweh by Shai. Lord willing, this is edifying. I wanted to do a quick land back off a lesson that I did the other day, going into various topics and going into this actual article that I have pulled up on the screen, which is from USA Today, that says Trump signs order pushing cities and states to remove homeless people from the streets. Okay. And basically moving them into what they call treatment centers, okay, and encampments. So I went into that, and I wanted to do a land back off that because I was looking in the looking through YouTube, and I saw that the elder Yahsharalah, he posted this. He posted a screenshot of this this article in his community section. You know, when I scrolled and I looked at it, I was like, damn, I said to myself, damn, Esau's doubling down. He's doubling down on, you know, the whole homeless, getting them off the streets, putting them in encampments and detention centers. Esau doubling down with FEMA because now this article from NBC News, okay, it says FEMA to send states $608 million to build migrant detention centers, okay? So this is Esau doubling down on, and you can see that, you know, how hard they trying to go with this whole detention center thing, man. They're not playing around with this agenda. Esau finna come down with great wrath. Jacob's trouble, during the time of Jacob's trouble, the Heavenly Father Yahawah, Ba'ashim Yahawashi, is going to use his sword, which is Esau Edom, to come down hard on Jake, on 2/3 of these so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. And Esau's not hiding his hand any longer. He is looking to move forward with his New World Order plan, okay, which is ultimately to get everybody micro C-hipped, okay. And this, you know, these are the type of draconian measures, okay. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, but these are the type of draconian laws and measures that they're going to be taking. It's not going to be anything that in terms of you feeling like you have rights. I mean, you barely have rights now. It's all really an illusion. But in that time to come, Esau is going to be the last thing that's going to be on anybody's mind or thinking about it. The way Esau is going to be coming is your rights or the Constitution or the law, okay? Because the law here is really void. It has no real substance to it. It has no real integrity to it. There's always ways around these. There's always loopholes. The judicial system here in America and Babylon the Great is a joke. You know what I mean? It's a joke. Real quick, just to start off this lesson, since I mentioned it, Isaiah 10. It says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed." Okay, and his system, his judicial system is full of unrighteous decrees, all right, grievous laws that are designed to really detain and lock up so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. That, you know, that's what it's set up for, okay, and to continue to have, you know, Israelites oppressed, okay, and in that mind state, in that oppressed, beaten down minority mind frame, in that spirit, okay, they don't want Jake to think or believe that they have any value, Okay, and I don't want to veer off on, on the lesson, but it kind of really all ties in, because the less fight you have, the less you understand who you are, the less of, identity you have, your true identity, the easier it is for this man when he comes to swoop down. It's going to make it that much easier for him. Okay? Why? Because this is your oppression. This is your captivity. Esau has created a society and a system where people are way too dependent on what he has set up, the entire system. They're way too dependent on it. Right? And they look towards this man as if he's a god. And that's why these type of situations, these detention centers, you have organizations like FEMA, and even when it comes to the WHO and the CDC, people look at these agencies, as these organizations, as this is the end all be all. They put their full trust in them, because there's really nothing to combat the information with unless you are, you kind of have the spirit where you're just not taking anybody's words at face value, as we've seen what happened with the C-19. A lot of our people, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, just went along with the program. Okay, and didn't really have any interest or desire to sort of rebel against the information. Why? Because their livelihood was in jeopardy. Jobs were getting taken away. Their kids couldn't go to school any longer, which public school now is used as daycare. People got to drop their kids off at school so they can go to work. And Esau put them in a lose-lose situation. Take this jab or lose access to our system. And that's how it's going to be with the micro C here. But let me get back into this. FEMA to send $608 million to build immigrant detention centers. Okay, it says FEMA is starting a detention support program to cover the cost of states building temporary facilities, according to agency announcement. And that temporary facilities, call it what you want. At the end of the day, we know Esau wants to lock people up and have major control over what's coming next. Okay, they obviously want the path to least resistance when it comes to the martial law that they'll end up implementing, getting people in order, and this is all a part of it. All these different agencies and all these different plans to get people gathered together, it's all a part of it. It says the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or also known as FEMA, is prepared to send $608 million to states to construct immigrant detention centers as part of the Trump administration's push to expand capacity to hold immigrants. FEMA is starting a detention support program to cover the cost of states building temporary facilities. According to an agency announcement, states have until August 8th to apply for funds, according to the Post. Now, why, you gotta ask yourself, why are they going so hard with these detention centers? Okay, at first they want to get rid of the migrants and send them back to their land. Now they want to hold them. You want a temporary hold. You want to spend $600 million to temporarily hold them. That don't sound fishy to you? Sounds fishy to me. So you got FEMA spending millions of dollars. You got Trump signing executive orders for states to move homeless people off the streets. It all ties in together. The plan is the plan, man. Esau think he's slick. He think he's slicker than what he is, but it's gonna work on, the docile spirit that you Americans are under. Okay, you don't want to contest anything. You just want everything easy. And Esau's giving it to you. All of the ease of convenience that this man has provided for you, for your life. You know, you've been reduced to your life being on a phone, on a tablet, on a computer, and you can access, you can live your life by the touch of a button. And because Esau has done this to you, you know, it has really it has done a number on your ability to think rational, to think with a level of to think, what's the word I'm looking for? So I just drew a blank. Man, I don't know how I just drew a blank. To have any level of discernment, and to think critically. That's what I meant to say. Critical thinking and questioning the status quo is not something that people, I won't say the majority of people, because there are people who are waking up in these times to Esau. They're waking up to who this man is. Don't get me wrong. It's happening in that way because, you know, the wicked would be revealed. But there's still a whole lot of people under that spell, you know. And this is we see Esau coming how he's coming. Now I got a couple of shorts, right, to play with information going into what FEMA's doing. All right, check this out.
The federal government is providing states with millions of dollars to build temporary immigrant detention centers.
I think that makes sense from a taxpayer perspective because it's cheaper to do it that way. It's also more efficient. So anybody that wants to take up on the offer can do it. We've had some people take up on the offer, and it's not just limited to Alligator Alcatraz. That's something that in any of these instances with immigration enforcement, that's a way to short circuit and ultimately get where we're trying to go anyways.
FEMA announced a detention support grant program to increase detention capacity at the state and local level. The grant allows the Trump administration to further assist states with their deportation and migrant detention efforts. Florida's governor has already said he'll apply for the grant to help pay for Alligator Alcatraz. States have until August 8th to apply. FEMA plans to send...
All right, and we've heard about the whole Alligator Alcatraz thing, which is another form of a immigrant detention center. All right, and one of the shorts that I'm going to play speaks a little bit about it. So let me just play this other one as well.
States $608 million to build migrant detention centers. Here's what we know. The Federal Emergency Management Agency is launching a new detention support grant program that will provide federal funds for states to build temporary facilities to shelter aliens in a detention environment until transferred to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, according to an agency announcement. FEMA says that states have until August 8th to apply for the funds. Governor Ron DeSantis said Friday that Florida plans to apply for FEMA reimbursement to pay for Alligator Alcatraz, which DHS officials have estimated would cost approximately $450 million annually. During the Biden administration, Congress directed the Department of Homeland Security to distribute necessary funds to state and local governments to cover the cost of sheltering migrants in a separate funding stream from money that Congress had designated for FEMA to cover disaster relief. It is unclear where the program stands in regards to Trump's plans to eliminate FEMA entirely by December.
I just want to rewind that really quick.
Alligator Alcatraz, which DHS officials have estimated would cost approximately $450 million annually. During the Biden administration, Congress directed the Department of Homeland Security to distribute necessary funds to state and local governments to cover the cost of sheltering migrants in a separate funding stream from money that Congress had designated for FEMA to cover disaster relief. It is
so the 450 annually is separate from what the DHS had to set up for, you know, for these type of shelter programs, these detention and shelter programs. So you see Esau spending a lot of money for these, you know, detention programs, these detention centers, man, these shelter programs, right? And it's not for Esau to, you know, this is not one of those things where you look at it and say, well, you know, this is a good thing. They're trying to clean up homelessness and they're trying to have, get the people out of, get the, illegals out of the country. It's not that simple. You know, it's not that simple whatsoever. And like the last lesson I referenced that I did going into this, they was, you know, one guy was bringing it out saying this is not about public safety, or the welfare of the citizens of this country. You know what I'm saying? It's about order, and that's what detention centers, martial law, that's what that's about. It's about order. Okay, rounding up homeless people, putting them in detention centers, making sure they can be accounted for in preparation for this new agenda, this new world order system. That's what this is about. Okay?
Clear where the program stands in regards to Trump's plans to eliminate FEMA entirely by December 2025, something he has reiterated a number of times throughout his presidency. In June, Trump said that he wants to wean off FEMA and bring it back to the state level, adding that the agency would immediately give out less money to states recovering from disasters. Last month, Trump said that governors should not require federal assistance when there is an emergency in their state. If they can't handle it, they shouldn't be governor, Trump said. FEMA's announcement states that the new program will allocate funds to relieve overcrowding in the U.S. Customs and Border Protection's short-term holding facilities, further the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's immigration enforcement plans, and complement U.S. immigration and customs enforcement operational priorities. What do you think of FEMA's new Detention Support Grant Program? Let us know in the comments.
All right, so as you can see what this man is doing, you know, and like I mentioned, let me let this play real quick, because there's one more.
All right, now to Florida.
This one I want to show as well. And you can see the title of it. It says Alligator Alcatraz Immigration Detention Center in Florida could just be days away from opening. Okay, and that Alligator Alcatraz, man, and she's gonna mention it in the video. I'm gonna actually let it play. But again, this is not something that you should be looking as a good thing. All right, the way Esau rolls it out and the way they present it as a way to clean up homelessness, as a way to detain illegals and get this country back in order, back in control. Yeah, it's about the order of it. Yeah, they wanna get a hold back on this country because things have gotten out of hand. All right, but at the same time, it's much bigger than that. Okay, it's not just for the sake of, you know, illegals or homelessness. They don't give a damn about homeless people, man. All right? Because again, at face value, one could look at this and say, oh, look at Trump being a humanitarian, cleaning up homelessness. You could look at it and say that, but that's only if you don't know this man's the devil. You know what I'm saying? Like that's you could think that way, but then you would be giving credit to the devil. All right, and I got a couple precepts on it, but let me play this real quick.
Officials have claimed they are days away from opening what they're calling Alligator Alcatraz. It's a massive immigrant detention center. It's in the middle of the Everglades. CBS News correspondent Chanel Call has been looking into this new detention center, joining us now. So what do we know so far?
Well, Jules, we know this immigration detention center is about 45 miles west of downtown Miami. And I want to show you what it looks like. It's been named, as you mentioned, Alligator Alcatraz by Florida's Attorney General James Ahmawan. And this is because this big chunk of land that you see here is surrounded by mosquito, python, and alligator-filled swamplands. Here is Ahmawan talking about the detention center in a video that he posted to X last week.
People get out, there's not much waiting for them other than alligators and pythons. Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide.
So the administration's idea here, Jules, is essentially to build sort of a compound of heavy-duty tents, trailers, and temporary buildings, similar to those that you see normally that are used during natural disasters.
So what is the timeline and who is funding all of this?
Yeah, so Florida's Attorney General is saying that this facility will hold about 5,000 immigration detention beds by early July. So really, we could be just days away from opening. We're also told it'll cost about $245 each bed per day, or about $450 million a year to run. Florida says it will foot the bill. The plan here, though, Jules, is for them to then be largely reimbursed by FEMA through its $625 million Shelter in Service Program Fund. But I do want to mention, Jules, there is some level of controversy around this plan. Some Democrats and activists, they've come out and condemned the program, with several hundred gathering outside the property gates on Sunday protesting this detention center.
Okay, so there you have it. And again, you heard the money that they're spending. 600 million, 425 million annually. There's a lot of money that they're sheltering, that they're pushing to these programs. You know what I mean? And again, you're thinking this could clean up the country and, you know, get things in order. But again, this man is the devil. This man don't have no good plans. This man can't be trusted. Okay? He ain't doing nothing good willingly. Right? That's not in his makeup. This is the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 14, verse 6. And it reads, "There is none worse than he that envieth himself, and this is a recompense of his wickedness. And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. And at the last he will declare his wickedness." So again, if he do it good, it's unwillingly. It's not something that he wants to do. It's not, you know, it's not coming from a sincere place. You know, good is not sincere. It's not coming from a sincere place from this man. Okay, and at the last he will declare his wickedness, right? Because his plans is going to end up being revealed for what they are, which is evil, man. This man's he's gonna be microchipping people soon. You know, martial law, smart cities, 15-minute smart cities, microchip. It's all gonna microchipping stations. You know, this man can't be trusted. I don't care what he say. Cleaning up homelessness, this, that, and the third. This man got, you know, evil, wicked intentions, man. This is Psalms 55 and 21. I have it highlighted. It says, "The words of his mouth are smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords." Right? So the words of his mouth are smoother than butter. Anything that this man comes out with, anytime you see him signing an executive order or doing something on face value that looks like it's beneficial to the people, you're gonna have to think again. You should think again, because that's not what this man, that's not who he is. Right? This man don't do good willingly. All right? His words were smoother than butter. All right? And that's how Esau comes. He's the biggest deceiver ever known to man. All right? And he can't be trusted. That's why you got to watch out for this guy. And those of you who think this man has good intentions, it's going to bite you in the ass soon, because just when you think, you know, just when you think he's you know, because a lot of you Jakes, so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, you go run into this man for everything. You go, you know, partaking in his political system. You go voting, and you go supporting this man and everything he got going on. You think this, you know, Latinos for Trump, blacks for Trump. You people should be ashamed of yourself. It's a shameful thing to watch you people bow and bend the knee to this man as if he's some sort of god. He's the devil, and you're gonna soon see it. You know, Psalms 146:3. "Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help." Okay, and I'm gonna end the lesson on that. Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help. Okay, you can't put your trust in this government and these presidents, these governors, as the videos you was watching. All, you know, You can't push your trust in man. There's no true help in man. The only help that's worth looking towards is the help that comes from on high, from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi. Anything else or anything other than that, it's a goddamn it's a trick, man. You know? Put not your Psalms 146:3. Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help. All right. Scriptures say, "Cursed be the man who trusts in man." Right. Real quick. I said I was going to end it, but let me just end it. So Jeremiah 17:5. Thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose the heart departed from the Lord. Right? So don't trust him. Can't trust in man, because, especially in this society, because Esau Edom has control. Right? And anybody or anything attached to him is going to have that same evil, wicked spirit attached to it. All right? So you got to watch out for this man. All right? This is the way he's coming. Detention centers, massive programs, and millions and billions of dollars to support it, to support your oppression, to support your you know, really your death. Because if you enter into covenant with this man, that's a covenant of death, man. All right, that's so I'm gonna leave it there. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, double honor to the apostles and the elders, the elder bishops at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.